All right, I appreciate everyone being here. Obviously, we're here because of an incident that occurred Friday night around 9 p.m. My deputies happened to respond to basically a trespassing call. And as they were on their way, they learned about an individual, or there was shots that were fired at the time. And upon arrival, they found a victim suffering from a gunshot wound and immediately rendered aid until medics could arrive, but unfortunately, Ms. Owens passed away. A lot of the rumors and questions out there have been that we're not doing anything, we're not moving fast enough. A lot of people don't understand how the laws in the state of Florida sometimes works. You know, we only got a part of an initial. When you get to a scene, sometimes you only get one side of the story. And because we want to seek justice and we want to assure that we get the facts right, especially in a case to this level, we just don't take always one side, because it doesn't always paint the full picture. And especially, as I mentioned, we had two children, or children, I should say, more than two, to possibly witness what occurred. Now, we're not cold-hearted bastards that we're going to interview children the night they possibly witnessed their mother being killed. We're going to wait. Not only that, and I'll be the first to admit it, I'm not qualified to interview to that level. So we have to rely on professionals and experts, counselors, to sit down with them. Because how many of you and your viewers out there have seen a child being interviewed who clams up and doesn't want to talk? It becomes difficult. So it's something that we can't immediately and will not immediately do, just because we know what they, or have seen what they have gone through. Now, what's on your minds is what occurred that night. Here's what I can tell you. Is we know that this has basically been a neighborhood feud over time. I've got reports that these things they've called, one side or the other, either the mother, Ms. Owens, is called, or a shooter is called, complaining about the children. Now, his children being children. Many of y'all have heard me talk about as being a father and having my own kids. Here's what I wish. I wish our shooter would have called us instead of taking actions into her own hands. I wish Mrs. Owens would have called us, in hopes we could have never got to the point in which we are here today. One last thing. You know, Florida, most states don't have the stand your ground law. And what a lot of people don't understand is that law has specific instructions for us in law enforcement. And any time that we think or perceive or believe that that might come into play, we cannot make an arrest. The law specifically says that. And what we have to rule out is whether the deadly force was justified or not before we can even make the arrest. And sometimes it becomes difficult. And sometimes it becomes an obstacle. But only a temporary obstacle. Because it will be moved. And the final answer will come forward. Children were part of this process, and they're witnesses. So we got to get more information out of them, and they're working with us now, which is vital, and it is very vital. So whatever occurred there, and the actions in which the shooter did with the children, we're still trying to figure out. And at that point is when she went back into her home. At some point, I believe it was the oldest son that had went back and told the mother, or somehow the message got back to Miss Owens. Miss Owens came to the house to confront the lady. And when she confronted her, again, we only have one side of the story. Okay? I want to make that clear. This is just one side of the story. It's not both sides. It's not all of it. Okay? And this is why we take our time in these type of cases. So she confronted her, and then according to the one side, there was a lot of aggressiveness from both of them, back and forth, okay? Whether it be banging on the doors, banging on the walls, and threats being made. And then at that moment is then when Ms. Owens was shot through the door. I can tell you that.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.